Let's record a video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. This is Twig, my little doggy puppy assistant. Oh, we're boring him, it would seem. But today I'm going to be sharing with you this wonderful book. It is by Anthony Rella and it is Slow Magic, Cultivate Lasting Transformation Through Spellwork and Self-Growth. Twig did chew the corner of my copy, but it's okay, I could still read it, you know. I do just want to point out that this book was not given to me. I bought it with my own money. My thoughts and feelings about this book are all my own. So if you enjoy these sorts of reviews, do bear in mind that I buy all the books myself. You can find links to Patreon and Ko-fi down below, and you can follow me there for free. And yeah, it's a good time. Go and check it out. On to the review. So this book, I immediately became really excited by the introduction. The introduction to it is, the foreword is by Ivo Dominguez Jr. and then there's also an introduction by the author. We're coming towards the end of the year and I always like to set goals for myself to do over the dark half of the year, like to get into a good space for the next year. And so I've been trying to set goals and things for myself, so as soon as I started reading the introduction I was in. I was excited, I was there. Excuse me, I'm just going to kill my husband. So yeah, really good introduction and really sets you up for the coming year. If you are like me and you look at the dark half of the year as a time to hibernate and to get new skills and to start really setting those steps into place for the next year, then I think this is the book for you, to be honest. But spoiler alert, I have to admit the writing style at times was a bit hard to read. It's what I call fluffy language sometimes, and by that I mean using words in a way that can make it hard for people to understand. And I definitely felt that at times. There was points where I was like reading, because I sit with my mom when I'm reading and I'll be reading something and I'll go, oh mom, you've got to hear this, and I'll like go to read it out to her and she won't have a clue what I'm saying. When it came to this book, there'd be parts of it that I would read out and be like, do you know what this person's trying to say? And she didn't know either. So when you've got two people trying to figure out what you're saying, that is making your book so it's harder for people to connect with. And it's a shame because the story behind this book, the reasons it was written, the magic that can come from slow magic is so special and is open to anyone really when you think about it. So it's really sad that it feels kind of out of reach. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, the language was a bit too much at times, but you know, each to their own. Now I will say this, the book is nice and light to hold. I didn't struggle with it at all. It's a very small book. I will say you do have to kind of it sort of keeps itself open, but you do have to hold it open, which can be painful at times. The writing is kind of small. Bear that in mind if you're thinking of buying this and you have arm pain, hand pain, sight issues, migraines, fatigue, that sort of thing. Important to remember as well. I found that the language at times, like I was talking about just, did trigger my fatigue because I was having to read things like 3 or 4 times and it did like make me really tired, so bear that in mind. I will say one thing that I really struggled with was the fact that the author often referred to God as in a female sense. I don't believe any God has a gender. I don't think they look like us. I think it's just energy. I just don't think there's a woman in the sky or a man in the sky, you know, watching over us, etc. I honestly don't believe that, and I think it would have been a lot easier to use they them pronouns. I'm not hugely into this divine feminine and masculine and all that kind of thing. Like, I just think we're we're humanizing things that are not human. They do mention it though. They did say that all gods we work with are probably genderless and this shouldn't be a thing, and yet continued throughout the book to refer to God as a her. I mean, you can believe God is a her if you'd like, but I think if you're writing a book, maybe use genderless pronouns for a creator, being, or God, you know, maybe. Just an idea. It was kind of off-putting to me, but again, each to their own. Once again, as always, I will once again say meditations in this book are not available online, and once again I'm going to ask why. Why are we not able to just scan a QR code in the book, or have a password or a code or something that we can put in to access the meditations online? It's not hard to do. I do meditations online all the time in apps, YouTube and things, so I just don't understand why it's still, if you want to do this meditation you could record it yourself. Like, why? I don't understand. I'm gonna keep talking about this until authors and publishers realise that there is no reason for us not to be able to just click a link or scan a QR code and get to the meditation. There are parts of this book, mainly like the first half of the book, I would say, that feels more like a self-help book or a therapy book rather than a witchcraft book. And I understand there's like an intersectionality between those things. You know, a lot of us do shadow work, a lot of us do a lot of introspection and self-help kind of meditations, and it's all good. But just be aware that it's only like the first half of the book, and also the author is a therapist, so it does make sense that they would write it in that way. So just be aware if you're not into like self-reflection and that sort of thing. If you have PTSD, for example, some mental health conditions make it very triggering and very difficult to do. Just have a think about it before buying this book, because some of the exercises are very much like look into your past and forgive people and let go, and not in a forcing way, but in kind of a this will help your magic to flow better, which I get, but it's not an easy thing to do. And as well, in this day and age, many of us need therapy and can't get hold of it because of capitalism. So just bear that in mind. Don't eat your new bed. I have to say, I really loved all the section about the whole chapter, I think, about planetary magic. Planetary magic is something that really inspires me and gets me thinking, and this really gave me ideas of how to work with it within my magical craft and inspired me to look into it a bit more. It's one of those things that I really want to look into next year as part of my next year's plan for my magic. And so it was just really interesting to read about how we can connect with planetary magic, but also how the planets can influence not only our personal lives but also society and the world in general. Like how things are happening in the world can then be plotted out if you are into astronomy, I always get them mixed up, astrology, etc. But yeah, planetary magic really inspires me. I'm not heavily into, like, I've done my birth chart and things like that. It's not something that I would look up my horoscope every day, but it is very interesting to think of connecting with certain planets on certain days of the week to do certain types of magic. That really inspires me, so it's something that I definitely want to look into a bit more. Well, the last thing that I really loved about this book is that all of the exercises had several ways of doing them, or different ways of connecting with certain things, different ways of meditating. What are you eating? What I really loved as well was that all of the exercises had many different ways that you could apply them to your witchcraft, which makes them so much more accessible to more people and more people's craft. Like if you're disabled, you've got a few different ideas of how to connect with the slow magic, and I really love that. I think slow magic is something that definitely works a lot when you have chronic illnesses, when you are depressed or you have mental health issues. looking at long-term goals, things that you want to achieve, things that you want to work on over a longer period of time is going to be better than always wanting the quick answer to things, because that isn't always the best way to go about things. I think it's one of those things that when you're trying to do fast magic, when you're trying to quickly do something and you're out of desperation, you can cut corners, you can not think things through properly, and it's those things that let the magic kind of go a little bit awry. So I loved this book. I don't know if you could tell or not, but I really enjoyed this. I'm definitely somebody who always sets goals for me ahead of time, always writing lists of things that I want to achieve. The idea of slow magic and then using magic along the way as little stepping stones almost was really inspiring to me. So yes, very much recommend. So I will leave a link to the author and to this book so you can read a little bit more about it, read some reviews and see if it'll fit your practice. Now I'm sure you're sitting there looking at your screen thinking, Beverley, what are we going to be reading next? And it's this book. It is October next month, so of course I wanted to pick something that is going to help us connect with our ancestors, with spirits, and this is A Psychic's Handbook, Methods and Advice for Communicating with Spirits by Michelle Welch. Now if you've been on this channel for a while, you'll know I am absolutely terrified of ghosts and spirits. I'm really scared of them, but I work with my ancestors. I know it doesn't always make sense. I'm a Beverley. Pleased to meet you. I don't always make sense, but I really want to get over that fear. I've been working with Hecate and Archangel Michael and really working on overcoming fear. And Dogman, we can go to bed in a minute. Let me just finish this and then we'll go to bed, I promise. Okay, so I really want to work with spirits, and as the veil thins and thins as we get closer to Samhain, it seems like the perfect time to read about becoming psychic and delving deeper into my psychic abilities. So I'm really excited. This is quite a big book. It doesn't feel heavy, but we'll see how I get on reading it. Once again, I will leave links to this down below, and I bought this with my own money. So if you enjoy me buying too many books and reviewing them here on the channel, make sure you check out Ko-fi and Patreon. All tips and little bits are definitely appreciated, and keep the lights on here at the channel. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave it a cheeky like and a comment. Hit that subscribe button. All these things are free and they really help me to know, and the YouTubers to know, that you enjoyed the video, and it'll share it out just that little bit more. Take care everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Never forget you are loved, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.